Every jungle guide always ends up saying the exact same things. Focus on farming your camps above all else. Don't ever waste time on low percentage ganks, only make plays around your winning lanes, and make decisions based off your laner's priority. Stuff that all sounds really great in theory, and to be completely honest with you, is exactly what the high elo players do in their high elo games. However, there's a massive problem with all of this. When you actually try to apply this advice in your games, it never seems to work out. You're stuck farming camps for what feels like an eternity the entire game, while the enemy jungler just mindlessly is spam ganking, breaking every rule that you learn about and getting every one of their laners ahead, while yours start tilting out of their mind. But hey, at least you're up a few camps, right? Well, that's exactly why in this video we're going to focus on giving you actual advice that above all else is going to work in your elo. So to start, let's focus on one of the biggest reasons that you're probably losing games and truly address why prioritizing your camps above all else rarely works for you. It's actually really simple. Every time you hear this advice, they're failing to tell you the most important concept you need for it to actually be helpful, as there's one single metric when it comes to climbing as a jungler that goes up drastically in every single rank bracket. And if you improve at this, statistically, you are going to climb, improving at the thing you do the most every single game: clearing your jungle. High elo players, they spend hours perfecting their jungle clear because they know how important just a few seconds really can be. Like in this game here, Viego and Lee are both pathing towards top this game, and rightfully so, as the matchup is incredibly volatile. But pay really close attention to just how much faster Lee Sin is clearing. He's almost an entire camp ahead and ends up finishing his clear at 252, while Viego isn't even done with his blue. And by simply being those few seconds faster, Lee gets to top first and turns the 1v1 around, meaning not only is Renekton now ahead, but Lee's also able to snowball this into a guaranteed scuttle crab. And so to put this into perspective, this game is from gold. Both Viego and Lee have almost identical average clear speeds in this elo, while Viego even being a few seconds faster on paper. And you can immediately see the difference here just being a couple of seconds faster can make. Yet, here's the thing. Lee was only a second faster than the average player in his elo, but the fastest players are doing this same clear a whopping 13 seconds faster. Now just think about how many times you clear your jungle in a single ranked game. If you're able to save just 10 seconds off every clear by the end of a game, you're really going to have literal minutes of free time compared to the average player in your elo. And this is the part the majority of players miss. The players giving you this advice, they're so quick and efficient with their time that they're not even having to pick and choose between farming camps or ganking. They're so much faster at everything that they just do both. Which is why if you really want to climb this season, we make sure to have a full library of the fastest possible clears for every meta champion this season in our world famous jungle clear course. Every champion is complete with helpful subtitles walking you through every stage of your clear, including health thresholds for when you want to be leaving each camp and moving to the next, champion tips and tricks the average player wouldn't ever know about, and even some brand new groundbreaking clears high elo players are abusing you get full access to before they ever go viral, such as how you can base after Krugs, buy a Dark Seal or Longsword, and still make it to Scuttle on time, only with an item advantage to guarantee you win any fights and snowball the early game, which is completely busted. And if you pair this alongside our brand new 5-part Jungle Essentials course for Season 16, covering everything from ganking, decision making, and most importantly, when to farm and when to skip camps, gives you everything you could ever need to climb as jungle this season. In fact, we're so confident our service works that it's all backed up by a rank up guarantee. Climb at least an entire division while actively using our service or get every penny back. And listen, you can gain access to all of this and more today using the special one-time discount code in the description or pinned comment below, and finally get the rank of your dreams this season. But speed isn't the only thing that's holding you back. There's a decision that happens around 6 minutes in almost every game in the lower elos, and you can completely abuse this decision to gain free wins, as your opponents will have no idea the mistake that they're making. Take this game here. Both junglers are starting on their top side and pathing down towards bot. Fast forwarding to 5 minutes later, and both starting buffs are about to spawn again. Graves is already topside and goes for a gank on the Quinn slightly before, while Zac is still bot side, having just finished his Krugs, which he was late to as he did a cheeky gank in mid. Now, in seeing this, if you're Zach in this situation, what would you do? To give you the full picture here, both bot and mid currently have priority. Now, I'm willing to bet almost everybody answered Dude Drake, and that's exactly what Zach does, as we know Graves is topside, so it's a completely free Drake. Only, this Drake is far from free. Remember, both junglers path toward the same side of the map, and seeing Zach on Drake, what does Graves do? He walks right into Zach's jungle and takes his blue, his Gromp, and even his wolves. Then he has the entirety of his own jungle to clear right after, while Zach is completely homeless. So while Zach may have secured the first Drake of the game, single Drakes are essentially worthless. It's only once you get 4 and unlock Soul, or even the threat of having 3 and forcing your opponents to fight, where Drakes really become valuable. But by doing this, Graves has now gained a massive lead he can use to continue to snowball, as he's now up both in gold and experience that Zach is never going to get back, not to mention the easiest way to get objectives is to just simply be stronger than your opponent and beat them in a fight. So his chances of getting any future Drakes just went down dramatically. And you wouldn't believe in how many games you can really abuse this mistake. The exact same thing happens here, only later into the game this time. Briar and Graves both started by pathing towards bot. Briar's had a pretty rough early game, and Graves is 5-1, while she's 2-4. But with her top side spawning again, she bases, heads up there, and starts clearing. Only Graves again makes this exact same mistake that we just saw Zach do. Briar gets the notification that Graves did Dragon, and just runs to his top side and takes it all. Now we have a 5-1 Graves that's down in camps and in levels to Briar, who should be completely out of the game at this point. And if Graves had just reset and cleared down towards Drake, he would be so far ahead anyway that Briar wouldn't have been able to contest, let alone get a favorable trade out of this decision. And this is why keeping track of your opponent's pathing and knowing where they started is so incredibly important, as you can typically have a good read on exactly when every single one of their camps are going to be spawning and where they should technically be on the map. This is exactly why one rule every high elo jungler abides by is to just be at your camps when they respawn. Not only does doing so practically guarantee that you're efficiently farming, as you're going to be constantly clearing the camps as they're spawning in a sequence, but it keeps your jungle safe. As remember, every camp you steal from the enemy jungler is not only an extra camp for you, but it's one less for them, effectively doubling the value for each camp you manage to steal, making it an amazing way to build leads. But your opponents making the mistake of over-prioritizing objectives is not the only way you can abuse this knowledge and steal camps away. There is a new jungle path that players are starting to take advantage of to completely counter one of the most common strategies junglers have been doing for years, the Raptor start. As you're going to more than likely know by now, it is super common for farm-heavy junglers to start Raptors. The reason for this is that it gets your smaller camps respawning faster, so you can cycle your jungle slightly sooner and more frequently. But high elo players know that if you start Raptors and full clear, you need to go immediately to your Raptors after you finish Scuttle. Otherwise, if you waste any time looking for ganks or even basing for an item, the enemy jungler, if they pad the opposite way to you, can just do their Scuttle and steal your Raptors right after for free. But here's how you abuse this. What you're going to need to do is at level 1, go get a ward on the enemy Raptors just to confirm that they're starting there. This is going to often be the farm-heavy junglers that are trying to get to level 6 really fast, like a Mumu, Shyvana, Nocturne, those kind of champs. Or even just the ones that are really good AoE at level 1, like Lilia, or maybe even Kayn. Now, once you know that they're starting there, you want to start on your buff the same side as them. So like this Hecarim here, he starts his blue to pad the same way as Karthus. Then, once he finishes his Krugs, here's the tech. Rather than going to the same Scuttle, he instantly recalls, spends his gold, and heads to bot Scuttle instead. As Karthus makes the mistake of hanging around top, Hecarim can do bot side Scuttle, steal away his Raptors, and then even do his Krugs after. But here's why this trick is so incredibly strong. Even if Karthus did immediately go to his Raptors after Scuttle, Hecarim would still be there the same level as him, only with an item advantage and even a positional advantage, meaning that he'll always win out in that 1v1. So definitely try abusing this in your games, as honestly, at least before more people start catching on and avoiding starting their Raptors. Other than your mid being super behind and you getting 2v1'd, there is practically zero counterplay to this. But here's the dirty little secret of climbing as a jungler in solo queue. Following rules like farming your camps on cooldown and being at them when they respawn is in many cases going to build your lead purely from consistency. But the real skill and how you truly take over games is knowing when to break all of these rules. In every guide for laners, you're really going to hear the same three fundamentals: level spikes, item advantages, and abusing ability cooldowns. Yet for some reason, junglers act like this doesn't apply to them at all. Exactly like this Emerald Graves that we saw earlier. He had one of the best early games possible. 3 assists after his first clear, tons of free kills with every gank working out, and was getting over 1 KP every single minute for most of the game. Even at the 15-minute mark was 8-1-7 with 2 completed items. Yet all he did with his lead was secure Void Grubs and Dragon. However, it wasn't until 18 whole minutes that he took his first step into the Briar's jungle and truly tried to set her behind, despite his whole team also winning and being up 10,000 gold. Now listen, I realize that this isn't exactly the same, but imagine if you're in lane and your opponent is 8-1. You're gonna find it really hard to play, right? Well, this is the biggest difference between a good and a bad jungler. Good junglers know how to abuse their lead. Take this Master Sylas here. He gets a pretty big advantage level 1, pushing Nunu off his own Raptors and then stealing away his blue. Right after, he then turns around the gank mid, at which point he full clears his own jungle and is now up in gold and experience and has a pretty big lead. From here, he starts contesting every one of Nunu's camps, taking his top side on spawn again, and then even completely skipping his own entire jungle to go fight Nunu on his Raptors. And this continues on for the rest of the game, with Sylas only really ever going into his own jungle when there was nothing else to do, or he can't contest a camp as there's too many people defending it. Otherwise, he's in Nunu's jungle contesting him for every camp and making it impossible for him to play. And by the end of it, he's up 3 levels and 3,000 gold from just one small advantage. But obviously, it's not always going to be this drastic. Even just playing around minor level leads like Viego does here, who hits level 6 first and is fresh out of base, having just spent his gold, just walks straight to Wukong's Raptors and contests them, which he then picks up an easy kill and an extra camp, despite being down on kills and on gold. Or maybe take this Talon here, who after seeing Zed blow his ultimate mid, immediately takes advantage of that window, invades his blue, and forces the fight, and picks up a kill, even in a completely dead-even game. Stealing camps away or contesting your opponent's camps if you have an advantage is without a doubt one of the best areas you can look to improve at if you find you're having a hard time closing out games or really getting anything out of your lead. You can even just start with something simple. If you win a team fight or a skirmish and know where everybody is, rather than going back to your own jungle, default to invading your opponent's instead, just like this Talon does here. He does kill Zed in the 2v2, but rather than just defaulting to his own blue, just head straight to Zed's red, as he knows it must be up as well. And the same thing here. A sloppy fight happens mid, everybody dies apart from both junglers and Aurora, with Zed barely escaping. So Nocturne walks straight into Zed's jungle after the fight and steals away what camps he can rather than doing his own. All of it goes back to the fact that it isn't just getting you an extra camp, but it's also stealing one away from your opponent. And now taking advantage of and pushing that lead is one thing, but let's focus on how you actually build that lead. And while you can obviously get a solid lead through farming efficiently, your biggest leads are going to be built through, you guessed it, ganking. And especially this season, there's one thing you absolutely have to be abusing that almost nobody is taking advantage of in low elo: lane ganks. Now in previous seasons, the way you path actually mattered a whole lot more, as you spent the majority of the time on that side of the map. And if there wasn't anything to do at the end of your clear, it really felt bad. But now, thanks to the Season 16 home guard changes, you can just instantly base, run straight down the opposite lane, and get the speed boost the entire way and still have free time to look for a lane gank before your first camp respawns. And this is honestly something you want to be thinking about far more often than you usually do. But for your ganks to be far more consistent, you need to understand one thing above all else: wave states. Take this Graves here. He collects a completely free kill on the Victor mid. but then pans his camera top for just a split second. Now, with just only that tiny bit of information, he's already planned exactly what he's going to do next and already knows he's about to get a free kill top in about 60 seconds, meaning he has just enough time to do Raptors, Krugs, and then paths up there. And what do you know? He picks up that free kill. So how on earth did he know to do that? Well, it's all to do with a simple concept called rebounds. After killing Victor, Graves looked top and saw Shin had a big wave that was about to crash. What this means is that as Quinn is stuck last hitting under turret, the reinforcing wave is going to come in, get stuck hitting it, and then slowly cause the wave to push back to Shin, while Quinn has full control over the lane, which is typically going to take around 2 waves of minions, which as minions spawn every 30 seconds, gives him around a minute. So knowing this, Graves understands he has more than enough time to clear his topside camps before Quinn crashes her own wave. And watch, he double checks as he's on Krugs, confirms what he already knows, heads up there and catches Quinn halfway up the lane, as he predicted, which is very unlikely to be warded, as Quinn hasn't had a chance to push out yet, and collects that easy kill. It's really as simple as that. But if you really want to take your jungle to the next level, this season we just dropped a brand new 5-part Jungle Essentials course for Season 16 that covers everything you could ever need, including the exact rules Challenger junglers use to never waste a single second on the map, when to farm, when to skip camps, and how to turn your dead time into free kills and objectives that the enemy jungler just cannot answer. We even reveal the pathing tricks and counter jungling strategies that high elo players are abusing this season to completely 1v9 games, as well as everything you would ever need to know about ganking and exactly how to navigate macro and objectives in the mid game to late game, so you're never getting flamed for being in the wrong place at the wrong time again. Now pair this up with a world-famous jungle clear course with the fastest possible clears for every meta champion, and you've got everything you could ever need to climb as a jungler this season. And we're so confident this all works, it's all backed up by our rank up guarantee. Climb at least an entire division while actively using our service, or get every penny back. Gain access to all of this and more today using the special one-time discount code in the description or pinned comment below, and finally hit the rank you deserve this season. For now though, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.